fellow knights, Vikings, samurai, and Woolen. My name is Nebula, and today I have what I'm calling one final theory to discuss before the Mighty movie officially releases in just over a week's time. Now, this isn't anything related to the content of the Mighty movie itself, and it's not because I don't have actually anything to theorize on, it's more because I can't see anything that may or may not be correct because of the books. And no, I haven't read them myself, but now I can't make anything because the story is already out there, even if I haven't read them, and it means that I can't discuss anything because people may assume I've already read it and I'm just taking my inspiration from there when I really haven't. Anyways, the theory I want to discuss is more on what could happen in a possible third movie. Specifically, if we did get a third movie, as in what could happen in it, as you know. And if you've been watching my videos this year, specifically the ones that were back in January and February and March and that, you'll know which pup I've been pitching for the longest time, and it is for the lovable Dalmatian Marshall, the fire pup. Any case, I'd like to begin with what Marshall's backstory could be. And I've already made a video on why I think if there was going to be a third movie, why Marshall is my top pick. So you can see that here, so I'll post it here so you can see if you want to watch it later. But anyways, I think to pitch an idea of a backstory for Marshall, I'd want to look at his fear to begin with. Now, Marshall is obviously stated to be afraid of flying. As in, he doesn't care if he's on the tallest building in the world, it's just a case as long as his feet are standing on something safe. In the idea of floating, not actually being on the ground itself. Um, Now, I'll be honest, granted, he does usually get this fear a lot, like it happens, but he does usually move past it for the sake of a rescue like Rocky with his water fear. But in my mind, it's clear that it does still affect him, like Rocky again. Um, and it's like again, not the vertigo, just the feeling of not being on terra firma. And just to clarify, this is not based on the idea of just his fear flying. It's his clumsiness affecting how he believes in himself, which is shown numerous times in the series, and in my mind can make for a pretty unique backstory that's not just is nervous about returning home or is too small to do any good. It allows, in my opinion, for Marshall's backstory to stand alone as more unique and a bit more interesting, and this is my official pitch. During one night, a group of firemen were enjoying a nice peaceful night at their firehouse when all of a sudden they heard a crashing noise outside. One of them went outside to investigate, and all they seen was a couple of bins slash trash cans for Americans knocked over and a small box on the doorstep with holes in it, with a note saying, "Please take care of this little one." And the fireman opened the box to find a tiny little Dalmatian puppy. The fireman brings the little pup in, and after some discussion, the crew decides to keep him. And after some more discussion, they decide to give him his name. They call him Marshall. Now that's like the first sort of act, like the first important bit, Act 1. Act 2 is this. After taking care of Marshall for a while, the one thing they notice is that he is very clumsy, and the captain is not pleased every time he's messed up and knocked something over. And the recent time he's done it, he's given the crew an ultimatum. If he knocks one more thing over, then they have to take him out and leave him. And unfortunately, during a time they all need to leave for a rescue, Marshall breaks a set of glasses. And when the firefighters return, they see the broken glass, and the captain has had enough and asks one of them to take him outside and leave him. Marshall, just not understanding anything, when he gets left outside, tries to follow the fireman back inside. But the fireman just keeps shouting to him, "No, you have to go. Go." And as the door shuts, Marshall just sits for a minute with a sad face, not knowing what to do. Then he hears some loud noises, and he is spooked, and he starts running away. That's Act 2. Here's where Act 3 would go. As he's running, he crashes into some trash cans, bins again, falls over, and is surrounded by a group of wild, large dogs. And when all hope seems lost, when they're backing him into a corner, a young boy, you can probably guess who it is, spots the large dogs scaring the little Dalmatian and starts chasing them off, leaving Ryder and Marshall alone. Ryder tries to pet the little pup, but he keeps just backing away and not letting him near him because he's just too scared. Then, while Marshall is moving away, he knocks over Ryder's backpack, which he sets on the ground, which has got all his books and supplies in it. And Marshall, expecting to be told off, starts looking even more scared. But then Ryder says to him, "No, no, it's okay, it was an accident. You clearly didn't mean it." And Marshall, for the first time in a while, calms down because Ryder understands him more than the firefighters did. And just to clarify with the firefighters, it's not like they always shouted at him for breaking something. It's more that he always got worried every time he broke something because he would always worry what they would say or do when he did break something. Like the panicking over every instance it would happen. And then Ryder clears his stuff in his bag, like puts it back in, and then Marshall gets closer to him. And now he allows Ryder to pet him, and they form a bond. And thus, Ryder decides to adopt Marshall and take him back to Adventure Bay to introduce him to Chase and Sky, who he's already got. Now, mostly this idea for Marshall's story is built around the idea of how he feels insecure when he keeps messing up. And the driving point that finishes the story would be that Marshall starts feeling insecure about messing up and doing the wrong thing. He remembers Ryder's words and brings back his confidence. He takes a moment, takes a deep breath, and focuses up, gets a dead serious look in his eyes, and goes for it. And to lead on from that, it's the idea that a possible movie gimmick, in my mind, in terms of what it could be, in my mind, needs to be something that really goes far beyond what we've seen so far, and I mean literally. And this is why I would like to officially dub what I would say a third movie would be, which I'd say is Paw Patrol, the Astro movie. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I may make another full video discussing a full plotline and how Marshall's story works into it in another video. And I would just like to say one last thing. Today marks 1 week away from the Mighty movie, which is absolutely insane. And I would just like to also point out that I will be switching over to my alternate YouTube account to avoid any spoilers that could show up on my recommended. My alternate does not have any Paw Patrol related stuff in it, obviously. And I will be honest, I did almost get tempted into seeing Sky's backstory book, and I'll be honest, the video that's just got released in regards to the Learning to Fly lyrics, the lyric video, word of warning to people, that video does contain spoilers for Sky's backstory. I didn't see any of it myself. I caught a frame of it when it was doing like the second, like the first verse, like the first couple lines of the first verse. I almost got caught with it. So just word of warning to people that is in it. So just if anyone wants to not be spoiled on that, do not watch that lyric video. I implore you. And I have also been managed to keep my strain as well, so I will be being very careful with this. So that's why I need to do this switch over to my alt account thing. Okay. Anyways, that is really all for now. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And this is Nebula out. And for the final time, see you all after the Mighty Movie.